Hey everybody. Maybe this thing's working correctly. We shall see. It should be. At least so far it has. Um, but hello. My computer keeps having all these things pop up. I wasn't here last week because of I had Judy's babies while Judy went to the doctor. That's why. And I actually had Marcus until Sunday, but he had stayed from the Thursday before. So I had him a little over a week. He just wanted to hang out here. He likes it here, and that's cool. But let's see. Killian was the other son. He married the Moabite girl named Orva and died in Moab also. Yeah. Uh, there's a lot of information, just so much information you can go back and find that helps you understand what the Bible's actually saying, like with the commentaries and stuff. And I mean, you can understand what it's saying from the Bible, but it's for me, I like to dig deeper sometimes, But I wanted to go ahead, and I know that there's not many here yet, but I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that when Donna, who usually is here, she probably won't be here today, she said, because they're closing on their house, which is wonderful. And I've been praying for a smooth closing, no problems with that. But over the weekend, her husband's sugar levels went down in the 20s. I want to say it was 25, but don't quote me on that because it could be wrong. But it went down really low. He ended up having to go to the hospital. He's okay now, but keep them in your prayers because that's not a good thing. And it's something that whenever she sent me the email, she had said she had told her friend that she had not done anything over the weekend. And I agree with her friends, which I consider her a friend too, but I agree with her saying, yes, you did do something. You saved your husband's life because she got him the help he needed. So keep them in your prayers. Also, everyone else that is going through tough times right now, we know there's lots of things going on that with people that we need to keep them in our prayers. I had a little note somewhere, but I don't know where I put it. A Calvin and Marie in Georgia, keep them in your prayers as well because he got to ring the bell. He finished his last chemo treatment. I did not get to watch that video yet, but I know that it said he rung the bell, so that's really good. But hi, Tara. But anyway, today we're going to continue with Ruth, but since I didn't get to do last week, I decided I would go ahead and finish it today and just do 3 and 4 because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of things, but I think we can finish it in this time. And before I get started with that, though, I wanted to ask you guys if you want to, like I was talking about, just study like books of the Bible instead of, which like we did with Ruth, but just study different books of the Bible instead of different subjects for a little while. Maybe do that some because I've been reading 1 Samuel and I really want to go over that again. I want to study that again. And the only reason I think that I started going into 1 Samuel is because Ruth is right before it. And I just started just reading it just because that's what I do. And I'm like, oh, I would like to do a study on this because I haven't done a full study on many books of the Bible. I've done full studies on some, but not many. So I want to, let me flip over my page so we can kind of go over the last couple weeks of Ruth. We did chapter 1 on the 31st of last month, and we talked about how that there was a law that an Ephrathite marrying a Moabite, that they couldn't enter the congregation of the Lord for 10 years. I believe it was 10 generations, not 10 years, 10 generations. We kind of talked about the different generations, how long that would be. That could be 200 years or more before that they could actually join in. It's not saying that they weren't a child of God. It's saying that they couldn't go to where they worship. And that had to be hard, I would think. Let's see. Full study sounds good to me. Okay. I just got done with Kings, and at Kings it was tough. Yeah. Kings is tough because there's a lot. Yeah, first, second Kings. There's a lot of war. But we also talked about how that the Yibam was, and how that, like, once, if your husband died and your husband had no children, they had to practice Yibam. In other words, they had to, if the woman was going to remarry and carry on the bloodline, they had to practice Yibam and the different things about that. And then we went on to part 2, where they had gone back to Bethlehem and talked about Boaz and how he was a man of great wealth, and he was a wonderful man. He helped people. He loved the poor. He loved everybody. And he was the type of man you'd want to marry, the type of man who would take care of others because he knew he could, and because he loved others, and he didn't want anyone treated badly. He protected Ruth. He made sure that no one hurt her. While that she was around his place, because he didn't want her harmed, and he made sure that her and Naomi had plenty of food and everything they needed. So I'm going to go ahead and start on chapter 3. Let me put this back where it goes. And start reading there. And do like we normally do. Just go until got something to say, I guess. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, shall I not seek security for you, that it may be well with you?" So that's verse 1. Verse 1 right there. Naomi is asking Ruth, "Do you want me to help you find security?" And security meant home, food, all the things that we need for security still now, but it's protection. It's so that she wouldn't, a lot of times back in this time, if a woman was not married and she had no children, no sons to take care of her, then she either had to rely on family, which always wasn't there, or she would sell herself in prostitution, or she would do things like sell herself into slavery, and not the same type of slavery you would hear about now, but into servitude, where she would be a servant for someone. And if you had to do those things, if you had to sell yourself into servitude, it was years that you were there, you were stuck there. You had to pay your debt back by working the time you were supposed to. If you sold yourself into prostitution, that's terrible to have to do, but that's the way that they would feed themselves. That's the way they would house themselves. Because if you did not have a husband or a son who could provide for you, you had no one to provide for you. So Naomi is asking her, "Do you want me to find you security?" Because Naomi, I believe, by this point, probably looked at Ruth as her own daughter and not as a daughter-in-law. That's the way it sounds to me. That's what I think. Verse 2. Now Boaz, whose young women you were with, is he not our relative? She's asking Ruth this. In fact, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Therefore, wash yourself and anoint yourself. Go, put on your best garment and go down to the threshing floor, but do not make yourself known to the man until he is finished eating and drinking. Then it shall be, when he lies down, that you shall notice the place where he lies, and you shall go in, uncover his feet, and lie down, and he will tell you what you should do. Now, me being me, I wanted to know, why would you uncover a man's feet? Is it so he would take notice because his feet got cold? Why? But when I started looking, and also in this Bible here, this I'm using the Cultural Backgrounds Bible today. That doesn't always mean that you uncover somebody's toes. Sometimes it means you're uncovering their genitals, their private parts, their areas. And I was like, what? That's only for husband and wife. Why would she tell her to do that? Or why would she go in and do that? Well, we don't know if it was his actual feet or if it was his private parts. But we do know that nothing happened, which we'll go through that in a moment. And that, I wanted to bring that up because I was like, nobody ever told me that before. I never heard of that before. And whenever I read it in this study Bible, I was like, what? And I started searching and finding that it was in other places too. That was one of the meanings of that. And let's see, where are we at now? Should I go down last? But okay, here it is. She told her to uncover his feet and that he will tell her what to do. Like, he'll say, okay, I guess this, in a sense, was a marriage proposal. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's in a sense what it was. And she said to her, all that you say to me, I will do. So Ruth said, everything you told me to do, I'll do it. I'll go take me a good bath. I'll put me on some perfume. I'll put on some nice clothes. And I will go and I will hide from this man so he can't see me until later. Sounds weird. I don't know why it was supposed to be that way. But that's the way it sounds to me. And if I'm wrong, you guys tell me. If y'all interpret it a different way, you let me know. But I don't think that it was a deceitful thing. I don't feel like they were trying to deceive Boaz. I don't feel like that at all. Because it just doesn't seem to me that that would be the best way to find a person who was going to marry Ruth. It doesn't seem to me that it would be a way that they were trying to trap him or something like that, which I have heard a pastor say that they were trying to trap him. I just don't feel like that's what was happening, because Boaz was a very powerful man, and which we'll get to more in a little bit, but I'm just going to go ahead and say he had a place at the city gate. He like, in Proverbs 31, it says that the husband was at the city gate. He had a place at the city gate. That was an important person to be sitting there and have authority there. I just don't think that they would be messing around with somebody who had that much authority. I just don't feel that way. All right, so verse 6. So she went down to the threshing floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law instructed her. And after Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was cheerful, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. And she came softly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. So he went to guard the grain. That's what he's doing. That's why he sleeps there, is to guard it just in case. Well, he went there and he went to sleep. So she came in. Now it happened at midnight that the man was startled and turned himself, and there a woman was lying at his feet. Now I do believe this is his actual feet this time. And he said, who are you? So she answered, I am Ruth, your maidservant. Take your maidservant under your wing, for you are a close relative. Then he said, blessed are you of the Lord, my daughter, for you have shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning, in that you did not go after young men, whether poor or rich. So what he's saying is, he's still being nice, so I'm sure this wasn't some kind of, weird hanky-panky weirdness stuff going on, like deception and stuff, because I'm pretty sure he would have told her to get out if it was a deceptive thing. because nothing had happened. But anyway, he's saying you did well. You didn't go after a younger man who, whether they're rich or poor, you didn't go after that kind of thing. You didn't go for someone just because it was someone to take care of you. You're doing what you're supposed to do, what is godly, what is in God's law. Because see, she's a Moabite. She doesn't probably even know God's law that well. All that she knows is what Ruth probably has taught her. That's my thought. That's probably all she knows. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you request, for all people of my town know that you are a virtuous woman. Now, it is true that I am a close relative. However, there is a relative closer than I. So Naomi must not have known about this other relative. There's no way she could have known, because I'm sure if she did, she would have sent her there, because that was the tradition. That was what was supposed to be done. Stay this night, and in the morning it shall be that if he will perform the duty of a close relative for you, good, let him do it. But if he does not want to perform the duty for you, then I will perform the duty for you, as the Lord lives. Lie down until morning. Now, what she's asking him to do is not marry her. I mean, he has choices. In other words, he can either buy her deceased husband's property, which was an inheritance for him, buy it back from who Naomi and her husband sold it to, and marry her, or he could just buy the property back. The property would still be in the family, and it would still be in the same family, in other words. So she lay at his feet until morning, and she arose before one could recognize her. Then he said, do not let it be known that a woman came to the threshing floor. Also he said, bring the shawl that is on you and hold it. And when she held it, he measured 6 ephahs of barley and laid it on her. Then she went into the city. Now, an ephah, 6 ephahs were probably 200 pounds. And everything I've read, it said that probably there was different ways it could mean things. That it probably wasn't an ephah. It was probably more like a seah. I may not be saying these words right, y'all. But that it was probably like 60 to 90 pounds. A small woman, I couldn't tote 200 pounds around. I mean, that's just a little bit less than what my son weighs. I'm not going to be able to tote that 6'4" muscle boy around. No, I can't do that anymore. You'd have to be a pretty strong woman to tote around 200 pounds. So it's probably 60 to 90 pounds, which you still have to be a strong woman. But I could handle 60 to 90 a lot better than 200. But that's really not important. It's just something that kind of, made me think a little. And when she held it, he measured his 6 ephahs of barley and laid it on her. Then she went into the city. When she came to her mother-in-law, she said, is that you, my daughter? Then she told her all the man had done for her. And she said, these 6 ephahs of barley he gave me, for he said to me, do not go empty-handed to your mother-in-law. So he is taking care of them yet again. He's giving them more grain. He's giving them more food, more... they could sell the grain. They could make bread and sell the bread to take care of themselves. Let's see. Then she said, sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will turn out. For the man will not rest until he has concluded the matter this day. So she's saying, Boaz is not going to stop until matter is concluded, till it's done, until we know the outcome. So she told her to be still. And there's a lot of times where we have to be still. We have to sit still and let God show us the way. And that kind of, whenever I read that, I was like, yeah, that's what we all need to do. Sometimes we need to be still, because God's not going to rest until our needs are taken care of and what his will is done. And that's just how that I feel anyway. So now chapter 4. I know I went through chapter 3 pretty fast, but there's really not a lot. I mean, there's a lot, but there's not. There's more we could dig into, but I don't know. I just felt like that was pretty much all I wanted to say about that. Um, so chapter 4. Now Boaz went up to the gate and sat down there, and behold, the close relative of whom Boaz had spoken came by. So Boaz said, "Come aside, friend, sit down here." So he came aside and sat down. Now that means that he's a relative to Boaz as well, because these are Naomi and Ruth's husbands, their husbands, um, family members. So he would be Elimelech, Malon, and Killian, or Chillian, however you say it. They're his relatives. Anyway, so they are relatives as well. And the city gate, I wrote down the city gate was protection, commerce, court, and public announcements. That's what happened there. The gate was so the enemies could not come in and attack the city. That way, I mean, it was the only way to get in and out of a city. It was the first line of protection, I guess you could say. And that is where commerce was held. That's where like we go to the store, the Walmart or the grocery store or whatever. Well, that is what they had there. They had their stalls there for their foods and all the types of things like that. And that's where that they had their courts, like where that things were, their trials, where things were taken care of. Like if someone had done wrong, it was where that they decided the verdict of what was going to happen. And it was where public announcements were made, where that they told the city what was happening. I don't know if they had like what they would, I guess, city criers, people that would go around and say the things, like yell the things out and say, whatever. Or I don't know how it happened, but I know I've seen in movies where that they had announcements like stages and all this stuff, but I don't know if they really had all that in all the cities. But Boaz went to the city gate, which is where a lot of it's like a town hall and courthouse. Yes, exactly. It's where a lot of the important people were, and it's where the elders were, which is verse 2. We're going to get to that. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, "Sit down here." So they sat down. Now, that's 10 of the elders. There's probably more than 10 elders. There may be 60, 100. There may be 200. I don't know. There's a lot of elders, but he only needed 10. As witnesses, I would think, and as witnesses and probably people to help them decide and say if it was lawful or not, I would think. Let's see. Then he said to the close relative, "Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab, sold the piece of land which belonged to our brother Elimelech. And I thought to inform you, saying, buy it back in the presence of the inhabitants and the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. But if you will not redeem it, then tell me that I may know, for there is no one but you to redeem it, and I am next after you." So he's telling him, "You're first. If you don't want it, I want it." And he said, "I will redeem it." Then Boaz said, now he wanted it at first, the first kinsman redeemer. Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you must also buy it from Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to perpetuate the name of the dead through his inheritance." Okay, so if he bought it from Naomi, he also had to buy it from Ruth. Ruth was still of childbearing age. That's something we got to remember here. Naomi was not. And if he bought it from just Naomi, it would be his. It would be a great purchase. It will be very economical. A wonderful thing to do. First of all, he has redeemed his family's property. Second of all, he has made sure Naomi was okay, who was a woman who was destitute, who couldn't do for herself. But then he finds out, oh, well, I've got to buy it from Ruth too. That part is whenever he says, and the close relative said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I ruin my own inheritance. If he had bought the property and married Ruth, that property would go to Ruth's child. So he wouldn't have that inheritance. His property would belong to that child. He didn't want to do it anymore. So he said, lest I ruin my own, you redeem my right of redemption for yourself, for I cannot redeem it. So he told him, I don't want to do it. You do it. Now this was the custom in former times of Israel concerning redeeming and exchanging to confirm anything. One man took off his sandal and gave it to the other, and this was a confirmation in Israel. Whenever I was looking at that, I was like, why in the world are they taking off the shoes? Well, back when God told Abraham, wherever your shoe touches, that is your property. That's probably where it came from, I would think. I was reading a little bit more where there was other customs. I don't know if it was biblical customs or what, but there were customs in different places where that one man would pick his foot up and take the foot of the man who was purchasing the property and put his foot down onto his property, saying, this is not mine anymore, this is yours. And so I'm pretty sure they had to be sitting or very, very steady on their feet to be standing on one foot and one man moving another man's foot around. But anyway, one was saying, this is not mine anymore, it's yours. Where you put your foot, it's your property. So I don't know if that was the kind of situation. I don't know if he kept the sandal or what, but that was the custom. Therefore, the close relative said to Boaz, buy it for yourself. So he took off his sandal, and Boaz said to the elders and all the people, you are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and that all that was Chilion's and Mahlon's from the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon, I have acquired as my wife, to perpetuate the name of the dead through his inheritance, that the name of the dead may not be cut off from among his brethren and from his position at the gate. You are witnesses this day. So he's saying, I'm marrying her. She's my wife. Any child, the first son we have is going to be Mahlon's child. Technically it wasn't, but we all know that it was a custom. And it will carry on his name. So let's see. And all the people who were at the gate, the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman who is coming to your house like Rachel and Leah, the two who built the house of Israel, and may you prosper in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. May your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, because of the offspring which the Lord will give you from his young. Y'all notice these names, Rachel, Leah, Tamar, all these ones are in the lineage of Jesus. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife, and then he went into her. The Lord gave her conception, and she bore a son. So they got married. They did married things, and she had a son. Then the women said to Naomi, blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a close relative. And may his name be famous in Israel. And may he be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law who loves you, who is better to you than 7 sons, has bore him. Then Naomi took the child and laid him on her bosom and became a nurse to him. So she's more like, she is his grandmother in a sense. And I don't think, okay, first of all, I believe Naomi was living in the same house with Boaz and Ruth. I don't think she stayed anywhere else because that wasn't the tradition. The tradition was the mother goes with a lot of times that's the way it was. Um, the mother was taken care of if her husband was not there. So, now I don't know for sure if that's what happened or not, but it said that Naomi became his nurse and like his nanny, but more. She had more say so over him because it was like he was replacing her sons that she lost. Not that he was taken away from Ruth and Boaz. I'm pretty sure that they had a big part in their child's life. I'm pretty sure that they were just as much parents as they would have been otherwise. I mean, pretty much had to be back then because somebody had to breastfeed the child, that kind of thing. But customs were very different back then. And I'm not saying that that's for sure what happened, but that's my perception, my thought. Also, the neighbor women gave him a name, saying, "There is a son born to Naomi," and they called him Obed, which is very odd to me that the neighbors named the child. I don't, we don't hear of anything like that now. The mother and father name the children now. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. And we all know who Jesse and David are. We know who David is. He fought Goliath. He fought the lion and all the things. And he was Jonathan's friend. And he was the king who really messed up. But he still, he messed up lots of times. He made a lot of mistakes. He danced naked in front of people. He did all sorts of things. He killed, first of all, he committed adultery. Then he killed the woman's husband, This is David, the great king. And he's coming from Ruth's family, Okay, so Obed is David's grandfather, in other words. Now, this is the genealogy of Perez. Perez begot Hezron. Hezron begat Ram. Ram begot Amminadab. Amminadab begot Nahshon, and Nahshon begot Solomon. Solomon begot Boaz, and Boaz begot Obed. Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. So we know the reason why that Ruth is brought out in the Bible, because she is part of Jesus' lineage. I don't know that this woman would have ever been talked about if she had not been in Jesus' lineage. But we can learn a lot from Ruth because Ruth was loyal. She was kind. She followed instructions well. She was trying to do what needed to be done to take care of her mother-in-law, which she had no obligation to do that. She had no reason why she had to do that because she had an out. She could have stayed in Moab. She could have married someone else. But I think she saw, this is my opinion now, I think she saw something in the God that Naomi served that was much better than her gods, than her false gods. I believe that she saw that God was better than what she had. I don't know if that's the reason why she decided to follow her. I don't know if she followed her just because she felt like that's all she had left, or, we don't know. We don't really know any history of Ruth, really. We don't really know any history of Naomi other than what we've been told here that I know of, anyway. There may be more in the Bible, but I don't know of any. But if my brain is working, that is 10 generations. Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. It's 10. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it is. So that means that David could go into the house of the Lord. I didn't even pick up on that, Carol. See, that is exactly why I like to do this. I didn't even pick up on that. That's the 10th generation. And even though he married the Moabitess, they could go, he could go, okay. I wonder if that's why David was chosen. Because God could have chosen anybody to be in the line of Jesus. He could have chosen Saul even, but he didn't. Saul ended up being a crazy king. Jonathan could have ended up being, you know what I'm saying? And not David, because they were like great friends, and I guess they were around the same age. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I don't know. But I didn't even pick up on that. I need to write that down. Oh my goodness. But I didn't even pick up on that one. I was too busy thinking about how good Ruth was and what she had done that she didn't have to do. And, you know, trying to keep you up on it. Well, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not a theologian. I'm just this crazy Alabama girl who's trying to learn from the Lord. That's it. I'm trying to study my Bible the best way I know how, because I was never taught how. Nobody ever taught me how to do it. So who knows? I could be doing it wrong. Y'all could be studying with a crazy woman who don't know what she's doing. But no, and like you were talking about the names and things. Names are very important. And what did Obed mean? Let me look that up. I didn't even think about that. Okay, let's see. Servant of God is what Obed means. Maybe that's why they gave him that name. Sorry. Just laugh. It's okay. Laughter's good medicine. But I don't know. I wasn't even thinking about that though. I was thinking about the line of Jesus and how that this simple Moabitess ended up being in that line. That's what I was thinking about. I wasn't even thinking about that was the 10th generation. And, you know, I wonder though, I would like to have all the other story, like the other parts of their lives, you know. Sometimes I would like to know a little bit more about what happened. But honestly, that doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things. Those things don't matter. But Naomi, you know, something else I did notice, because you were talking about names and everything, but she wanted to be called Mara. Is that right? Let me make sure that's right. Which means bitter. She told everybody, call me Mara. Where's it at? Like a fly on the wall. Yeah. Like a fly on the wall. Yeah, Mara. That's what she wanted to be called. You notice that she didn't want to be called that anymore. She didn't, they didn't ever refer to her. Like, you know, they referred to Abram as Abraham when God changed his name. God never changed Naomi's name. And I was thinking about that earlier whenever you were talking about the names and the meanings of them. God never considered her Mara. She might have been bitter for a little while, and we can all be bitter for a little while, but God doesn't want us to stay there. And the Bible never refers to her as Mara. It's Naomi. So I really liked in going through this, and I'm pretty sure that we could study it again and find more things. Other things would come out to us. We would notice more. We would notice different things, because I have found that every time that I study the Bible, whether I have studied it before I got you on which one? Which one? I don't know what you're talking about now. Which one? But every time we go through something, like we can study Ruth and then come back to it 6 months later, we'll see other things. God will show us other things in there that we might not have seen. And I feel like I got you on which one? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know which one. What I do? I don't know what I did. Oh, Naomi. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about it because you had mentioned the other. You made me think about it. And God didn't want her to be called that. He didn't like it. He didn't like Mara. That wasn't her name. It was Naomi. He didn't want her bitter. So he gave her back what she had lost in a lot of ways. So, but next time, I think, yeah, let's go ahead next week. Well, next week, I don't know if I'm going to be here because Jeff's going to be off work the next 2 weeks. Maybe I can talk him into doing it with me. Maybe. I'll ask him. But if something happens and I'm not able to do a Bible study, you guys know, just look on my community tab. I'll put it on there. But I plan on doing at least chapter 1, but I'm thinking chapter 1 and 2, but then chapter 2 is a lot in 1 Samuel. Yeah, I'm going to ask him, but I don't know if he will. We have a long list of things we want to do while he's off, because while he's off work is about the only time we can do things. Not just, yeah, I'll ask him to do it with me, but we have a long list of things that, like, we have to finish our kitchen table. It's still not finished. We have to, what else was it? It's a long list. Oh, we have to fix our central air conditioner. It's been broken for a while. We have to, one of our bathrooms, you cannot use the shower in it because it's broken. And it's probably the original shower from 1960. Like the shower head and faucet and all that stuff, it's got to be changed. And the only way we can do that is cut a hole in Selena's wall. Yep. So we got to do that. We've got a lot of things we got to do while he's off work. But we also want to do some fun family things too. Like, even if it's just playing board games or something, we still want to do that. But I'm going to ask him if maybe he'll start, if he'll do the 1 Samuel with me. He might. I don't know. He's not like, he doesn't want to be on camera a lot, but he doesn't mind sometimes. Y'all will see him some, and he'll be goofy and stuff. But he's opened up a little bit more than what he used to be. He used to be really closed up whenever he was on camera. But I'm thinking 1 and 2 of 1 Samuel. But we'll see. If nothing else, y'all can like be studying first. If we don't get 1 and 2 done, then y'all will all, be ahead a little bit. But if we get it done, then that'll be good too. But we'll see what we can do. But I really enjoyed studying Ruth. I saw things that I didn't see. I saw things today that I didn't see when I was studying. I saw things while we were here. That's why I like doing this, because with us talking, like you brought out that was 10 generations. I didn't even pay attention to that. And I'm pretty sure other people may not have paid attention to that, but it's very important. So I really enjoyed it, though. I really did. Yeah, I think it was good. I hope it was for y'all, everybody. I mean, I know there weren't many people here, and I really hope that Donna's closing is good today. I hope they've been looking for a house, and they just been trying to find something because they live in an apartment and they wanted something of their own, and they found something. I've been praying for them to find it, and that it's just wonderful that they did. And I think they found it faster than they thought. And in today's real estate market, to find something that's decent, it's hard. But I will, I guess I'm going to go. I know today's a little bit shorter, but I'm going to go, and I will see you guys next time. I really do enjoy doing these Bible studies with y'all because it helps me to stay in the Word more. And that it's just having y'all to do it with, to talk about things. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I wish we were all like close so we could sit around and drink some coffee or tea and do it together in the same room. But this is the way it is for now. But I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and studying with me. Remember, don't take any wooden nickels, and be sweet.